Today, we're going to be talking about diagnosis before prescription when it comes to creative agencies and how this is absolutely critical to what we do. But first, if you are a solopreneur who is into branding and the creative industry, and you want to amplify your skills, your mindset, and your remote work lifestyle, then click on that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss out. And give us a like if you enjoyed the show. I am your host, Steve Reed, and this is Brand or Die. Okay, here we go. Diagnosis before prescription. And again, this is all coming from this book, The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. Wonderful book. Highly recommend it if you are a creative and you're running your own business, especially if you're a solopreneur. There's some really great stuff in here that will help you mentally break through some of the problems that you're having in your creative business and dealing with all aspects of your clients. And not only is this going to make you a more successful creative agency, but it's going to reward your clients as well. It's going to give them a higher level of service. It's going to give them better results. And it's a win-win-win all the way around. And I constantly refer back to this book in my own business. There's really good stuff in here. And so today we're going to be digging in and discussing this a little bit. I highly recommend reading the book because obviously you're going to get far more. I'm going to touch on a few highlights as I have in previous episodes, but let's get into it without further ado. So this first quote here from the book says, "We will take seriously our professional obligation to begin at the beginning, and we will never put our clients or ourselves in the position where we are prescribing solutions without first fully diagnosing the client's challenge." Now, the reason this is important, especially for creatives, I'm sure the same type of situation happens, elsewhere. When we're talking about diagnosis and prescription, it sounds kind of like, doctors, people in the medical field.
What's wrong with you?
I can't get my contact lenses out.
Out of what? They're not in your eyes.
But if somebody comes to you and says, doctor, my knee hurts, you're not just going to go, boom, we're going to go straight to surgery, or boom, we're going to go do this, right? No, you got to really find out what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? And so in a creative agency, it's the same type of thing. If somebody says, well, I'm trying to sell this product, we don't immediately go, all right, you're going to need a website, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. No. You got to understand what the business is all about, what the product's all about. This is really why I believe brand positioning is so important, because if you have all this competition out there and you're just going to go do what everyone else is doing, you're just going to be another one in a sea of many. So there needs to be a process whereby you figure out where there are potential holes in the market. Now, here's the thing. Even if it seems like it's a fully saturated market, right? There's a million of whatever it is you're selling. That could be a challenging business to get into, but you can make it all more successful by carving out your own space, by doing 1, 2, 3, several things very differently than other people are doing. The key is finding out what those things are. And so now I'm getting into the branding process, but you get what I'm saying? You have to first ask the questions. You have to diagnose the problem. And it's always important to have like a methodology for doing that, right? This is not something you want to take lightly or just guess about. And we'll get into that a little bit here in a minute. So we first fully diagnose what the client's actual challenge is. And this next portion here says, we never agree to begin working on a creative solution to a problem that we have not fully explored. And again, as a creative person, I'm going to tell you the mistakes I've made, all right? And you can think to yourself, think if this is you. And this could actually apply to a lot of different fields, but particularly the creative field. See, the way our brains work, I'm pretty confident that most of our brains work this way, okay? But I know that mine really works this way. So I'm just going to tell you from my perspective. So as soon as somebody begins talking, my brain is instantly going, shoom, 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 solution, idea. This would be cool. That would be cool. That would be cool. And I have to keep my mouth shut. I have to keep my mouth shut because as soon as someone starts talking, I'll be like, oh, would it be cool if we did? No. Shut up. Shut your mouth. If you have to get something out, it's painful holding creativity in. It hurts. It hurts a creative because we just have to put it out there. We got to draw a sketch. We got to do something. We got to get in there and make the thing. But we got to resist that at all costs. Get a notebook, draw sketches, whatever. Do whatever you do in your notebook. So where's my notebook? I've got like a million notebooks. I got a bunch up there. I got one right there, two right there. I got another one right here. This is my new favorite one. Yeah, I like this one. But yeah, write your notes, man. Put your notes down, write it, write all the information that you need to have, get it out, and then shut your mouth and listen. And the only time you open your mouth is to ask questions. Ask questions, dig deeper, right? And allow that notebook to be your creative outlet for the time being. Store those thoughts. If you have a creative idea, you don't have to let it slip away. It doesn't need to come out of your mouth right then and there. Put it in the book, listen, ask questions, dig deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay? Fully explore it. Next, how many times have we proceeded based on the client's self-diagnosis only to discover that it was wrong? Now, this was something that I made the mistake of just over and over again over years and years and years because, I knew how to create the work, but I didn't totally understand a lot about the business portion. I was so focused on just creating that awesome design that I didn't understand how it would play out in the bigger scheme of things, right? The client would come to me and say, hey, I really want this. And I would go, oh, cool. And I'd make it. And I'd go, here you go, client. And they go, whoa, this is amazing. And they'd take it and run off with it. I'd pat myself on the back and then I'd go off to the next one. But now that I've been doing this for a long, long time, I've come to realize that a lot of times when clients come to me, they want this particular thing. But guess what? That may not be the right thing for them. In an earlier version of this show, I talked about two clients who chose the wrong logo. And the people who designed the logo thought they were doing the best, their best work. And the people who got the logo thought it was phenomenal. But now that I'm looking at it with eyes that have seen this happen again and again, now that I've seen it with eyes who understand audiences and I had a conversation about their audiences and what they were trying to achieve, I knew immediately the logos were wrong. At least that was my assumption based on what they had told me. And the more I learned about these businesses, it confirmed those assumptions. So what do you do about that? What do you do if a client comes to you and has an idea and says, this is what I want, but that's not what they need? This is where diagnosing the problem itself can help. Because a lot of times what'll happen, at least when I take people through this process, my own process, we'll go through all of that. And then we will come to realize once we've laid everything out, the client will begin to see. They'll begin to go, oh, yeah, I see something different here. Maybe that isn't the right way to go. It becomes obvious. We get it all out and then we can look at it together. That's really, really important. So we do not want to move ahead with something that isn't correct, that we have not proven is correct. But you need to validate our assumptions. This is what Blair suggests as a reply. So if the client really thinks they know exactly what they want, this is how you could respond to that. He says, you may be correct, but let's find out for sure. And the way you find out is through your process. Blair says, design is not the solution. It is the process. This is really important to understand because a lot of times we think of design as the end result. And certainly that is an element of design, but I think what he's doing is taking the scope of what design is and widening it outward to where it starts to encompass strategy. Not just because think about it. Once you start designing something, you're involving strategy. But what is that strategy? Your strategy could be just applying this creative solution and this creative solution, matching this and this. Everybody has their own creative process that they go through. But if your process begins and ends with what the client has given you and then what you think is best for the client, You may get lucky, that may yield results, but it's harder and harder to quantify and be sure that's the right thing. There's a lot of risk in just moving forward with these assumptions. So think of design as the process and not the solution. So widen your scope and involve more strategy at the beginning. Put diagnosis into that scope. And that way, the diagnosis process can lead to a prescription, and then the design can follow. And we'll get better results that way. Better for the client, better for our own businesses in the long run as well. Next, Blair says, the control that we need in order to do our best work includes the imperative to bring our own methodology to the engagement. So if somebody comes to you and they want great results and you want to provide great results, then you need to bring your own methodology to the table. Because if you don't, this is what happens. And again, I'm going to go back to my own experiences and my own mistakes, because I can tell you what to do, but I'm just going to illustrate with an example because I think it's more powerful. So back in the day, what I used to do is I used to ask the client, well, what do you want? And then they'd say, oh, well, I want X, Y, Z. Okay. So I would design multiple options and I'd say, which one do you like the most? And they say, I want that one. So, okay, we'll put some color on it and do this. Okay. Which one of these do you like? I like that one. Then I would say, okay, it's finished up and everything. Does this look good to you? Yes, that's good. I like that. The problem here is if we start at the beginning, if we just rewind the tape and go back to the beginning, let's say you provide them with all these different options at the beginning and you say, what do you want to do? In that early phase, it's very easy to select the wrong thing, because when you as a supposed expert are giving them all those options, you already know in your mind, you see a solution. You see what that thing looks like fleshed out at the end over here. And each one of those things, there's a different path that they'll all take. You'll get all these different results. And you're asking the client to choose from there what trajectory they want to go in. If that's the case, the client is the expert and you are not. You are simply a tool that the client is manipulating to get the client what they want. Imagine if you went into a doctor's office and did that. Let's say you have cancer or something that you need cured. Would it make sense for you to go into the doctor's office and say, hey, doctor, I need a solution. Give me some options. And the doctor says, well, there's 10 different options you can do for this disease. Which one do you like the most? And you go, I think I'd like to go with that one over there. And the doctor says, okay, we'll go with that one. Then the doctor takes you down that road and he goes, okay, now which of the ways should we do X, Y, and Z? And you go, let's do it this way. That's insane. We don't do that, right? We say, doctor, I need help. This is the problem. I'm hurting here. What is it? The doctor comes back, says, well, we've scanned you and you have cancer. You have some disease. Okay, what do we do? The doctor says, my best recommendation is we go down this path because I've had experience with this before. This is how we beat this thing. This is your best chance for getting fully restored. So we go, okay. And you trust the doctor, and the doctor tells you what to do all along the process. Now, if you want to be just a glorified magic marker for your client and let them push you around to draw the things that they want, that's one thing. But does that really help the client? No, it doesn't, any more than a doctor who would allow a patient to push them around and have the doctor give them the treatment that they want. We have to think about this differently. As creatives, we need to put our own methodologies together and trust in our expertise. And beyond just the design work, we need to expand it out to include some type of diagnosis tool or methodology or process. That way, when the client steps into that tool or methodology, they are participating in a process of expertise. You're not just winging it with them. But again, it depends on how you want to run your business. If you just want to be a glorified magic marker, and get paid virtually nothing to draw something for the, I mean, you could send your client off to websites where they could build their own logo, choose a symbol, choose a font, and then it packages something up and it sends it to them for a couple of bucks. There's websites that do that. Are you just going to be a flesh version of that? Or are you going to bring innovative human being creative thinking to the process? I think the one thing that machines have really yet to fully capture is the unique creative process of the human mind. And that's something that just may simply always be the case. The amount of creativity we're able to come up with, the intuition, the gut feelings we have, those things are all key. And so we just need to crank that up to level 11 and do better at that in our own businesses. Blair says a good client will begin to relinquish control once he has the confidence that the expert practitioner knows more than he does or has the tools to learn more. Formalized diagnostic processes are such tools. So in my business, I utilize the B3T framework. That is my formalized diagnostic process. And it involves a brand intensive, which is a meeting where we get together, we dig through everything, we find unique points of differentiation, we whittle them down, we go with one that works the best. And then out of that, we create stylescapes, we create a logo, we create those basic brand collateral pieces and assets that we're going to need. And then the client goes on this journey. They step in and I lead them along a path, as an expert should, with proven methodologies that they can lean on, that they know are going to take them to the finish line and get them to where they want to be. Just like getting on an airplane or hopping into an Uber or a Lyft and someone's driving you, you can sit back and relax because you're in the hands of the expert who is getting you to where you need to go. But if you've ever been in a car, as I have recently with teenagers learning how to drive, you're like, okay, you're driving. So put it in reverse. No, reverse. We're going to back out. Watch your mirror. Okay. Look what's going on there. Stop.
Steve, wait a minute. Don't do any. Steve, wait!
Going through that process, I think sometimes that's how some businesses feel with creatives, or at least they treat them that way, because they don't respect their experience and their wisdom, because they're asking the client, what do I do? Just like a kid. If somebody got into a car and they got the keys and they looked at you and they said, what do I do? And you're like, well, put the keys in the ignition. Okay, now what? What do you want me to do? Well, back the car out. And if somebody approached you like that, you would be sitting there telling them what to do because you have no confidence they know how to drive a car. So you're like, okay, I got to step in here and make this happen. It's what I did for a long time. And I thought that's how you dealt with clients, but I was wrong. So created my own formalized processes. I took over control. Now I can leverage all that experience that I've built over the years to carry a client from point A to point B with confidence and style. The last point is prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. So if you're going into a situation and you're just simply, like at the very beginning, throwing out solutions without formally understanding the problem, that is creative malpractice. And there isn't really any liability for doing that. There aren't any laws in place for people practicing creativity without a license. I mean, it sounds kind of ridiculous when you think about it that way. But we need to take ourselves to a higher level. We can take ourselves to a higher level. And it's very important that we do that because we want to help our clients succeed. And the more our clients succeed and the more clients we help succeed, the more profitable and successful our own businesses are going to be. People will refer us to others because they're excited and happy with what they got. And that will keep us busy. It's how I've run my business for 20 years. I don't do any advertising at all. I deliver excellence to every single person I work with without exception, because I will not put my name on something unless it's the best possible solution that I can provide. I won't put my name on it. I've actually had people, it's kind of ridiculous. I've only had this happen once or twice I remember distinctly working on a project. I was developing a logo and I had it nailed perfectly, right? The only problem is at the time I didn't have this formalized process. So I hadn't built that relationship with the client of expertise. And that problem was on my end. Now, I didn't know better at the time. So whose fault was it? I don't know. That's how it was. So the client pushed really hard on the process, but he insisted that the logo should change in a number of ways that I was very much against. It overcomplicated it. It jacked it up. It didn't look good. So what I told him, I said, I will make these changes for you on one condition. And that condition is that I will not ever put this logo on my website or advertise it anyway. And if you tell anybody I did the logo, I will deny it. I said, so please do not tell anyone who did this logo for you because I'll deny it. I can't put my name on this. It's not the right direction. And so I just simply can't agree to it. Now, if I was able to take him through a process, I think that would have yielded better results. So that's why I do things in a specific way today. So anyway, I know some of this can be difficult to understand if you don't have a process or you don't have anything. And so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there you can read on the web. I mean, you can spend years and years trying to put something together. But if you want to learn about how to do some of these things yourself, you're a creative entrepreneur, you're stuck in that cycle of continual suck, and you're trying to figure out how to take your business to the next level, I recommend you head over to remotecreative.io. You can join for free. And you'll learn some of those missing skills. You'll learn how to crush imposter syndrome and crash through limitations and crank things up to levels that you never thought possible. And I also have courses where I teach exactly how to do some of these things. I give you my methodologies and processes and frameworks so that you can go and implement them immediately. These are processes and frameworks that already work. I've designed them after doing this for years and years and years. I figured out all of the problems and the flaws of it just working with so many clients. And so I've put better methodologies together that solve those problems, that deliver better results, and that allow you to prosper as a creative agency. So, hey, if you want to listen to this show on the go, please check out anchor.fm/brand or die. Go check out Remote Creative. I know you'll love it. And I've heard that every time somebody joins, a person finds their car keys. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, turn on all notifications, and click like if you enjoy diagnosing before prescribing. And hey, we'll see you next time. And remember, life is short, brand or die.